The next morning, about as bright and early as you could imagine, 4 bells. You're awakened by Bosun Tardo throwing garbage cans at you to get you out of bed, ordering you to get geared up for a field mission. Shortly afterwards, in the cafeteria, Quartermaster Ryback serves you a hasty breakfast with a wink and says, "Now don't forget your deluxe welcome pack that I know you got yourself there." You are a little bleary-eyed as you wake up, but your foreign bodies are feeling much more natural today. They fit better, they feel stronger, more streamlined, more connected to your consciousness. With breakfast hastily finished, Tardo will command you to the deck of a hammerhead ship called the Flighty Foundling, providing the blue cap that you need to reach Skydock for access. What do you take with you as you are amongst the shouts and the gruffness and the orders? You do seem to be getting a clear idea that this is not going to be a brief mission.
Is there a reason we couldn't just bring everything?
You're just, yeah, because you're grabbing everything that you have. Yep.
You don't have much. It's whatever we got in the commissary.
Yep.
Landed.
Right,
Give me that much.
Definitely get it.
That would mean Semenius taking his many bottles of wine, etc. Et
Oh yeah.
Nice. Axel definitely helps him with that.
So, are you including in that your deluxe welcome packs that Ace managed to get for 4 of you?
Yeah, it's toiletries.
Yeah. We might need to shower.
Okay. As soon as you are on board the ship, there are certain things that become clear. You are not the only cadets involved in this mission. Other than Ryback, Vina and her flunkies are there. The plasmoid is aboard. Son's his halfling companion friend, however. There is, however, a Thrycreen cadet who you might have seen around, but not someone that you've run into much before. The ship takes off immediately, and it flies you towards the city of the Spelljammer, Celestia. Tardo begins barking information at you. An adamantine meteor has struck the Fang on the planet Hecatha. You lot are going to recover it. You see, adamantine is the prime material used by the Mercane to create new Spelljammer thrones for our fleet. It's a precious material, and we need to get it before anyone else gets their grubby hands on it. The good news is, the old wolf has signed off on this mission as a field exam. What does that mean? Well, do the mission right, and you all get promoted from cadet to agent. The reaction from Vina and the others is immediate, like, what, are you serious? Like, oh my god, oh my god, we're gonna be agents. It's like the final exam. And Taro hushes them down immediately. You're right. This mission will replace months of academy training. The bad news is that Hecatha is populated solely by beholders and their kin. The good news is that INC has an old Tyrant Ship in our possession waiting for you to crew it. The other bad news is, as part of your exam, you'll need to clear the ship yourself. No enemy ship is safe till it's being cleared. And beholders don't use the kind of thrones that us folks with legs use, you see. So you'll need to install a new throne, a new Spelljamming Helm aboard. This will be part of your training and part of the exam as well. Now, traveling aboard this beholder vessel, you should be able to reach the spire without attracting the unwanted attention of any other Tyrant ships patrolling the Hecathan wild space. But you will need to be on guard. That would be a quick and swift end to your training and your careers. So, I'll be dropping you off at the jail docks on the outskirts of Celestia, where Quartermaster Winston Ryback will ensure you don't go hungry. He'll command the deckhands Vina, Dallas erstwhile, Ermin erstwhile, McKevin, Haverstans, and Cricklet, and Fred. Now, given your company achieved the higher score on yesterday's flight simulation, you will be commanding the mission. So, you'll need to identify who among you will act as the senior officers of this mission, and the roles that each of you will take charge of, as well as who navigates the ship. So, I'll need for you to decide that now.
The captain.
Well, I do regret what happened last time, and to be honest, I've been thinking about it. I'm not much for inspiring people to do their best. I'm more of a shoot and, figure things out kind of girl. I would say a captain is best left to someone who knows how to bring out the best in people. And she's going to look at Zomanius and say, I would say that's you, partner.
Do the rest of you all agree? Zomanius, do you take this charge? And he looks first at the three of you, Ace, Carrie, and Axel, as if you're all in agreement with this.
Oh, yes.
Sozo's the best choice.
Axel gives a curt nod.
Zomanius graciously accepts, and the rest of you then?
Axel will actually walk up to Zomanius and say, anything you need me to do, just give me the order. I'll be your right.
He gives you a very Zomanius-like friendly reply, building your self-confidence up and making you feel that he trusts you fully in anything that might be needed aboard. Ace and Dr. Carey, are you settling in on your roles, declaring your roles to Tarto?
Yes.
Oh, yes, I suppose I'll have to go steer.
It's a good idea. You did very well with your navigating, I must say. That was a spectacular effort from each of you yesterday. One of the best I've seen.
The best.
No, no, it wasn't the best.
And it's the worst.
It was the best of the day, I can say. Look over at Fina. It was the best of the day. But Sarto, I feel you've personally inspired me, and I would like to be the bosun of this mission.
Well, okay. Well,
You run a tight
more
ship.
than I liked you before.
You run a tight ship, and I'm going to keep this one the same way.
All right, keep them ship-shape then, Ace.
Got it.
And as I was saying before, I'm pretty good at shooting things, so I suppose I should take charge of the gunnery as the master gunner.
On a Tyrant vessel, this might be tricky, But certainly, that is a most important position on any spelljamming ship. Someone with a good shot will certainly be good at that role.
Well, if it can shoot things, I'll figure it out eventually. Might take me a minute or two.
Okay. Well,
Do we see the ship?
at the moment, you're just flying over the city towards where you're going to be landing at what he's described as the jail dock. So
Okay.
there's just a conversation happening in the air at the moment.
What makes these ships different from the Hammerhead?
Well, one thing is it's made of stone. So don't try and land it in water or you'll sink it like a rock. And, well, it kind of looks like a beholder. It's designed for the floating, limbless body of a beholder. They get around without needing the use of ladders or steers. So I'm not sure that they defend themselves with catapults, ballisters, and that sort of thing. You might find that it doesn't carry the kind of siege weapons that we're accustomed to on the Hammerhead ships.
That thought had not occurred to me.
What
But I
do
will
they
keep it in
use? They must have some main defense. What happens if you bump out to one of these beholder ships in wild space?
I know that they have all sorts of rays that they're able to shoot from their eyes.
Ooh.
I believe they are
Oh,
able
not-
to channel those powers directly from their ship. Nasty business.
Oh. That sounds very interesting.
All right. Well, I believe those are all good decisions. Did you say, Axel, what you will be doing?
Sorry, me?
Yes, you.
What am I gonna be doing?
Yes. Which officer role
Uh,
are you
I-
assuming?
I'll be the Axel's. I'll be the first mate. Did you not hear me? I'll be Zozo's right.
I see. That was your way of saying you'll be the first mate. Okay. All right. Understand. The view as you cross the city, you saw it from the balcony. Ace and Zamenius also saw it from the balcony of the cafeteria. But as you fly over it, you can make out a lot more detail the closer you get. And there are a number of curious things that capture your attention as the buildings get steadily bigger. The further you move away from the academy, which is right out like on a peninsula at the very edge of the Spelljammer. There is, at the very center of the city, a ziggurat with a thin tower atop it, and a circular ring of energy where every now and again a Spelljammer ship will appear within the ring and then fly out above the city. On the far side of the city, at the base of the impossible spire, there is a line of colorful figures visible to the eye now, the closer you get. They seem your size, but given how far away they must be of mind-blowing proportions, these figures. They seem to be like sitting lined up as though waiting for something, clutching like almost like a file of pamphlets or something like that they might be carrying in their hands. And punched into the side of the spire, you can now see a quite a good view of this dark portal with the swirling dark mists that come around it, from it, and there are two long snake-like dragons writhing in the air near the black holes they're guarding. this black portal. Closer to the level where the Spelljammer is parked, essentially, the rectangular portal, which seems to be opening and shutting and letting this celestial light spill forth with this kind of elevator music coming out of it when every time it opens. Opens and you see another of these, you suppose, huge, gargantuan-sized figures come out. Feminine from the torso, very feminine curves, skin dark as night, hair silvery white, and far more arms than what you would expect anyone to have, and the spider-like body behind her comes out of this rectangular portal, and you sense there's fury in her movements as whatever paper she was holding, she's tearing them up, throwing them on the ground, and storming off as another of the figures kind of lifts themselves up and kind of walks into the rectangular portal, and the gates close, the music ends, and another one disappears from view. There are a group there sitting and waiting that, if you were to be interested in, you could try and garner some details about them. And you seem to be swooping down towards this dock, which will be familiar to Istria, the dock that you landed your one-person moth spelljammer at. And parked there are two vessels that you can even see from a distance that Ace recognizes. One is a giant turtle with a galleon crashed onto its shell, and the other seems to be an orca parked there. And amongst that are some other strangely shaped ships, and one of them seems to be this circular stone ship, which Tarta will point out from a distance. That round one there, that's the Tyrant Ship.
What about that galleon there? We can't just take one of the other ships.
Oh, you need to take a Tyrant Ship so that the tyrants that you might cross won't...
I wasn't thinking. I'm very familiar with that ship in particular.
Well, those ships have been requisitioned. They were in the hands of...
heroes, right? Yeah.
No good doers. Actually.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay, then never mind.
Does anyone want to focus on anything in particular? Study anything? Take note of anything? Or just you're more interested in the landing of the dock?
I kind of want to see if there's anything going on that's like loading or unloading of any particular ships.
On the dock itself, there doesn't seem to be too much movement at the moment. You can see there seems to be a couple of figures dressed in black suits. They're quite small at the moment, but they do seem to be standing on the dock as though waiting for your arrival. So the Flighty Foundling, the hammer ship that you're riding in at the moment, smoothly docks in alongside the Tyrant Ship, which, now that you're right next to it, looks like a gigantic stone-carved beholder. The dock itself looks more like a military construction than a merchant dock. The buildings are very stark, you can see towers at either end of the dock with armed guards. There's an edifice right in the center of the dock that seems to be a military building of some sort, perhaps a prison. The closer you get to the other ships, you can see that the Orca ship seems to be made of actual bone rather than lumber in the hull beams, so to speak. And the turtle that the galleon seems to be stuck on its shell is looking very glum. As you disembark, you realize that the central building is in fact a prison, and faces pressed against the bars, there's a number of impish faces who press their faces up and jeer out, and they're calling out all sorts of insults and jeers and mockery. Some of the faces amongst them look very boyish, and some of them look strange and alien to you, creatures that you might never have seen before. The two men standing awaiting your arrival are dressed in these black suits, dark glasses. One of them, however, is a beholder with glasses on each of its eye stalks, big central one-lensed glass right in the middle of its face. And they swiftly approach you. The human or human-like person who seems to be with the beholder doesn't seem to be very impressed by what he sees as he looks you up and down. So, these are the new recruits. I'm underwhelmed, Mario. The beholder responds, "Now there, Agent Sims. You must not judge a book by its cover. Besides, you have the same gourdless look on your faces when you were on your first assignment, Agent Sims. They'll whip themselves into shape, I'm certain of this. Greetings, cadets. I'm Massive Mario, and Mert speaks very highly of each one of you. As such, the following mission is your final field exam." Agent Sim continues, "If you make it back safely, you will be assigned a Spelljammer of your own and be issued with Field Standard Ink Gear Start Pack. However, just in case you don't make it back, we are issuing your company with a pair of ink sending stones and a field weapon. We apologize that this is so rushed, but this mission will mean the conclusion of your training, as we have urgent need of active agents. So, return as swiftly as possible, alive, preferably, and if you do, you will indeed become graduating members of the Interdimensional Normalization Corps. Yes, and now if you could give me your preferred weapon, and I will exchange it for an ink field weapon."
Axel will walk up and take and unsheath his great sword and hand it over to him.
Sims dips into a bag and pulls out an equally large greatsword and puts it in your hand. You have a +1 greatsword.
Oh shit.
Escher's gonna walk up to him and say, Well, this thing is decent, but I hope you got something better. And hand him the musket.
Yes, rather shabby make, I see. And reaches into the bag again and pulls out a much nicer musket. +1 musket.
Nice.
Ace will walk up and tip his hat down and draw his rapier with a flourish and hand it over.
A rapier is placed in Ace's hands. Much nicer make. You have a +1 rapier.
Carrie comes up and says, I'm still not used to using these things, but I suppose a better one, must be easier to use. And so she has the 2 scimitars that are sort of at her hip, and she sort of hands it over.
Okay, so you prefer that to like an arcane focus?
I don't. I would not. I did not realize that was an option.
It is an option, yes.
Well, I mean, my focus is my spell book, though, so I don't know. Can I swap out my magical spell book that I can summon at a whim?
Do you mention any of these problems? Do you suggest?
Do they look askance when I a clear wizard book holder type with a familiar sort of tries to hand over a scimitar instead?
Sims actually says, "Do you even know how to use a sword?"
Yes and no, if you get me. Like, I don't, but the body seem to. I'm not. Yeah, like I said, I'm still getting used to it.
A magic user, yes.
I mean, it's not my preferred tool, but sometimes fishbowl head people sort of appear and start assaulting you.
Do you have a wand you would like to replace, or an orb?
Oh no, that's all old-fashioned. No, I just have this, and her 2 little sub-hands sort of appear from her waist, and they snap, and this book, this huge book, just sort of appears into her hand out of nothingness in her hands. She sort of clutches it to her chest. This is all I need.
I see. He reaches into the bag and pulls out a bookmark. Hands you a bookmark.
Oh, this is very nice.
So that will make your spellbook a +1 arcane focus.
Okay. Which is just +1 DC and attack, spell attack type things.
Correct.
Ooh, whoa, this is very nice. Thank you.
Well, your final exam begins now. You will need to install this Spelljamming Helm on that Tyrant Ship in order to fly it, to retrieve the adamantine from the Hakathan Fang. Of course, only the entrance to the cargo deck has been cleared for you. Assume no other locations are safe. This is part of your training. So, good luck. And we hope to see you back here very soon. And they step back and leave you guys to do it as they watch every move that you guys make. Vina kind of says sarcastically, like, okay, so you're the officers, so, like, what are we doing? Quartermaster Ryback says, well, now, I think I'll take charge of Vina and Fred and the others. We can clear the cargo deck. They can clear the cargo deck while I get myself set up in this nice, already safe area. How about you there take charge of installing the spelljamming throne in the command deck? That'll be somewhere upstairs.
All right, Carrie sort of eyeballs the helm. This is made. It looks like it's made out of just like pure like rock, stone, metallic.
It looks like the kind of chair that you guys sat in, when you were moving the little mini ones. So it is like it is certainly look like it's been carved from precious stones. There is some lovely cushioning to the back and the seat of the chairs, the arms. It's a beautiful piece of work, but it does not look like light or easily managed. So your first challenge is maneuvering this thing together through the ship.
Where are so many of our quest lifting things? Carrie sort of looks out of the corner of her eye at Axel.
Axel will like stare back at Dr. Carey and goes, I guess I can help. And then he'll like head over there to try to pick it up. It's probably going to be too heavy for me by myself, I'm assuming. So he's going to also look at...
You can get it off the floor, but it's like that awkward shape where it's like, it doesn't need to be that difficult if you get more hands to move it with you, you know?
Yeah, I'll help hold it, carry it, maneuver.
No, I'll carry it.
I see what you did there.
Esther's gonna take out her rifle and kind of look at the rest of them and motion like downwards, like, shh, gotta be quiet, boys. Don't know what we got in here. Don't want them to know we's coming if they's here. I'll take the lead. I'll signal you if we should stop or keep it down or some such. And with that, Esther is going to go over here. I assume that's where we need to go.
So as you head over to that area there, you can see like up above you, there's like a shaft leading to the upper parts of this Tyrant Ship. You assume that is where beholders would just float upwards to reach the other parts of the deck. However, without the ability to float, this is going to be more challenging to get that Spelljammer run up there.
What kind of walls are the rock, or is the side of the shaft? Is it smooth? Is it like porous?
They are porous, yes. They do not look like they have been completely smooth. They are smooth in parts, but there are enough ridges and chunks that it's climbable. Okay,
good. That's all I needed to know. Esther is gonna look at the shaft, look around, and be like, all right then. She's gonna look back at the team and say, just hang on for a little bit. You can put that down if you want. I'll try to rig something up to make this a bit more climbable. And with that, she's going to attempt to basically use her rope and pitons that are in her backpack to create kind of like a pulley in a way to try and get the thing up, and also make it easier for people to climb up at the same time.
Okay. Do you have any proficiencies with any tools of any sort?
That's a good question.
Tinker's tools, perhaps?
Can Carrie try to judge if this throne looks like it is either less than or greater than 500 pounds in weight?
You think it's less than 500 pounds?
Carrie looks up the shaft. This is a good idea and all, but I can do the wiggle and lift thing.
For some reason, I only have proficiency with a flute. I don't actually have proficiency with like tools of any kind at this time.
Okay, so you can certainly make it easier for people to climb up with the climbing kit that you have. Like make a kind of pegged path for everyone to much more easily climb up the semi-smooth surface. At this stage, you don't have what would be required to make a pulley system as such, although you do have the ropes. But if there was someone amongst you who did have tools, if you wanted to go with a pulley system that might be able to help rig that, then that's going to be much more feasible.
Fair enough. She's gonna look back at the team and be like, I'm not actually certain how to do my plan, so if one of y'all knows how to rig up some kind of pulley, help us get that thing up there, that'd be mighty appreciated.
No, I Dr. Carey cast levitate on the throne.
I think that's the easiest way. Yeah,
I suppose that'll work.
magic.
I mean, we still need to get the rest of us up, but I don't. I'm gonna
that makes
see.
my job easy. Thank you.
I'm gonna try to exploit my dungeon master's interpretations of this rules by first casting levitation on the throne and then seeing if I can sit on it as it rises up.
I think, how much does carry weigh? Probably not that much, right?
Buggy things. I couldn't tell you. Normal buggy size? Is that about normal human size?
I think it's...
I guess she was kind of beefy as a... Yeah.
Not that heavy.
190, 200. Yeah, she's not like huge.
Okay. Yeah, it's still floating. There's a dip. There's a dip, but it's still floating.
All right. If you can't figure this out yourself, I'll help you in a few minutes here. Up. And she just starts drifting up.
Okay, so you've headed over to the shaft, sitting on the throne, and are floating upwards, yeah?
Yes.
Before that conversation happened, did Estria already, start the process of putting the peg ladder, so to speak, up into the walls?
I think when she started mumbling and no one else was responding, Esther would just been like, all right, I'm gonna just stop this then, and started doing the peg. So I would imagine she got some of it done, but probably not all of it at this point.
Okay, the shaft is actually quite sizable, so there is enough for room for Carrie to float past. So give me a athletics check with advantage from the climbing kit itself. See how far you progressed before Carrie floats past you. What's everyone else doing as Carrie and Estria are working on getting the throne up that shaft?
I guess we kind of had walked over there to at least the shaft point before they did the levitate, and then they kind of took off. So Axel's just going to be underneath, watching them. But he's going to... So he came over there, and as he's watching Estria start the climb and then Dr. Carey float with the levitate on top of the throne, he's just waiting. He just extracts his claws and waits kind of for his turn. He's gonna try to use his claws to climb it himself without any help.
Okay. I would say that Estria is only at the beginning of the process of putting the climbing kit steps up when Carrie's floated past. So how fast does the levitation work there, Win?
20 feet around.
20 feet around. Okay. Let me just check something very quickly.
Fun fact about levitate: if you were to levitate someone who was underwater at deep pressure, the speed of that would give them nitrogen poisoning.
Well, shit. Then
So technically, you die if you try to levitate out of water.
don't do that.
Interesting.
Okay, it's going to take you 4 rounds to get to the top of the ship.
So there's basically just 2 floors.
There are 3 floors. There's a middle area, but the shafts do not give access to the middle area.
Oh. Okay. So I don't notice there's 3rd floor at least. Okay.
Exactly. So you've gone from the bottom floor right to the top floor, unaware of there being a middle floor.
Got it. Right. Yeah. I mean, unless I hear someone shouting from below about some shenanigans or another, I'll float up. When I get close to the top, I'll sort of go slow just in case there's someone up there. Try to peer over the edge.
Okay, so Axel, seeing that you want to go up on your own steam, you could just leap up and go up the other side of the shaft as Estria is making the steps easier for Ace if you want to.
Okay.
You don't have a climb speed though, do you?
No. No.
All right, but the claws are very useful. They're finding the small purchases within the grooves of the somewhat smooth wall, but the grooves are there, and you would have caught up and because Estria is making a path for Ace to get up, begin to surpass him, so to speak. There is enough room if you wanted to, though, Goonie, have Ace begin climbing up behind Estria,
Sure,
or you're going to
yeah.
wait until she's made more progress.
I think I will look around a little, make sure there's no into where we are, and then probably start climbing up.
Okay, so what you're seeing is that Quartermaster Ryback has begun ordering around the other students, Vina and company, to bring in all of the supplies that he's brought from the Hammerhead ship, barrels and crates. You suppose food, like some sort of cooking stove that's being lugged in by the plasmoid and the thrycreen. And that's what's happening behind you. Other than that, you're not seeing any activity or movement from anywhere. Zemenius will head over as well to be ready to climb up behind. Okay, so round 2. Each give me a athletics check again. Oh wow.
Ooh, I just rolled a nat 20. I'm a good climber.
Do I still have advantage?
You do, yes.
Oh, another!
Thank
Another!
What is going on?
Let's go.
Good at climbing. Nice.
19.
Progress, although initially somewhat slower, begins to really be quite impressive. So you basically catch up with Dr. Carey with that amazing performance, and a rope peg stairway almost is left behind you to be able to go up and down that particular shaft with advantage at a much lower difficulty, where now it's almost trivial. So as you reach the upper deck, and Carrie you said you kind of peered up the top of the shaft, right? Kind of like checking for any signs of danger, correct?
Yes, you just not want to just blast through without scoping the scene first.
Okay. The rest of the team is kind of around the wall at various points, clinging on to the pegs and things, pairing up with you. You can see.
I'll be honest, I don't think Axel waits. I think he just blasts right by Carrie and jumps out of the shaft.
Okay. Cool. So there's a central part where you can see that within the ground itself there seems to be some type of cover, and the walls around this cover do have these arcane kind of sigil-looking things, very foreign to anything that Axel's seen, especially as someone not involved in alchemy or artifice. They just look like bizarre lights with strange symbols marked haphazardly around the jutting parts of the curved walls that he can see. As soon as you get closer to the central part, as the others are peering over, you see that there's lights that just come on, and all of a sudden the ship just starts spinning. Everyone roll initiative for me, please.
Son of a bitch.
All right. It's a 23.
I'm very surprised.
I rolled a 14.
26.
Oh, I'm not last.
Well done. Okay, so before the ship actually begins to spin swiftly, both Ace and Istria can feel that it's about to start spinning. You can have a turn before that becomes a thing.
Okay.
So,
Starting with Ace, with 26 initiative.
right. So, yeah, first thing I would probably get out of the tunnel and move forward. Probably would stop right behind. Yeah, I would stop right behind Axel. It's like, whoa, what's going on? Something's happening.
Okay. What would you want to do with the few seconds that you have?
I'm gonna. I don't know what's about to happen, so I'm gonna drop my shiny new weapon, and I don't really know what to expect here. Just gonna, just be ready for anything, guys.
So are you like technically would you be dodging or are you preparing an action to attack anything you see?
Actually,
or-
dodging would make sense since he can feel the shit moving, being ready to tumble if in case it starts doing anything, like flips around, whatever. Dodging.
Okay. What about Istria?
So, how far away is that? Oh, perfect. Okay. So, Estria is going to use her Blessing of the Raven Queen ability, which is basically Misty Step, but also I can use it a number of times equal to my proficiency bonus. I gain all expended uses on a long rest, and at level 3, I also gain resistance to all damage until the start of my next turn. And I appear ghostly and translucent during that time. So I'm going to basically teleport myself to, like, whatever looks the most like the power source to me. And I'm gonna try to destroy it.
Okay. Sure. The power source seems to be these sigils carved into like the jutting out parts of the walls, and in the circular areas there are more of them. So you could begin with the jutting out areas of the walls that you're standing next to, or go into one of the circular chambers and try in there.
I'm gonna go with the chambers. I assume like the bigger circles are the chambers?
Yes.
Alright, I will go to the one closest to me. I'll go there. And is there something that I could obviously see is like connecting into and possibly providing power to the
There
devices?
are a number of arcane control panels embedded into the walls. Now that you're standing up in close into the ones of this chamber, they have some knobs and levers and fiddly, lighty, flashy things that seem very alien to you. Certainly like nothing you might have seen on any of the spelljamming vessels you've been on before. Are you just going to haphazardly like start smashing things, or you want to start like trying to switch things off, or?
Honestly, yeah. Anything that's glowing or looks like it's on, I'm just gonna turn it off.
Okay. So, just out of pure luck, right? You're just hoping to hit the right button.
At this point, yeah, it would seem so.
Roll a 1d10.
Okay. That's a natural.
Nice. Let's go.
That's the magic number. Snap. The deck that had just begun to roll, and everyone feels yourself like as if you were in the inside of a dryer. about to like pick you up and start hurling you around as if you were clothes to be dried. Just kind of rolls up and all the lights go off.
I kind of turn around to everyone and say, "You're welcome."
For what?
I don't know, but it probably would have been bad.
Okay.
Quick thinking there. Quick thinking.
Yeah,
I got lucky as all. Thank you kindly, but yeah, we all lucky today.
Wow. Damn, I was not expecting you to roll 10.
I was not either.
Okay, so the deck, funnily enough, as you've come up the shaft, you've felt that things have flipped around. So whereas you were standing this ways before, what's happened now is you've kind of dropped down into this area, and you're now like standing the opposite way that you were when you entered the ship. The gravity plane has completely the opposite of what's down below.
That's a little peculiar.
Is there just no gravity in the tunnel then? Does it pull us? Was it when we landed on the
There was a certain moment where you kind of felt very strange, and you're like, oh, instead of like climbing, you're like, whoa, I'm like, we have to stop falling now, and kind of like you built the ladder downwards instead. So
would have had to rotate the throne right when we get to that middle point.
So I kind of want to do that detect portal thing again to see if there's anything like within the ship that could be causing this gravity shift.
Sure. That's automatic? That's an automatic power? You don't have to roll?
Yeah, that's just as an action to detect distance and direction to the closest planet portal within 1 mile of you.
Yeah, you have that same like overwhelming sensation that on the very edge of that, beyond its range, there are again uncountable portals is what you kind of feel. Within the 1 mile, you're now within range of the central Stargate, let's call it. However, within this ship, there are no portals, and you think that the gravity plane is like at a certain point you can be on the hull or the deck of the ship, where depending on where the gravity plane is in the middle, it will, being on the other side of that, will pull you to it. Like being on a sphere, when you're on this side, it pulls you down here. When you're on this side, it pulls you there. So it's just a natural part of where the gravity is within this vessel.
Interesting. This ship's a bit strange, I'll tell you what.
Have you seen the throne sort of slowly rises up a thing? Have you seen a place where this goes? It's sort of steering. Once we get to the level of that deck, you know, she can start sort of floating the helm sort of sideways. So she starts to sort of scooching along the deck, saying, "All right, where does this go? Is there any place up here to put it?"
I would guess in the middle. I don't know.
Let's not assume anything, because these things is weird as hell, and I don't know anything.
So I'll look around. Do we have a view of the top deck? Do I see a place, another sort of shaft that was hidden?
The deck has 3 shafts which go down to the loading deck.
Mm-hmm.
You've come up the first one that you encountered.
Yeah.
But there are 2 more of these shafts, and they seem to also go up higher into what might have been like the carved like stalks of the eyes of the beholder. So you could continue further up the shaft to like a top viewing deck, so to speak.
But there's no other
within this deck. There are these 3 circular chambers with these arcane controls that also seem completely alien and foreign to you also. In the very center, to your eye, there seems to be like a metal movable plate almost. There seems to be a screwable factor to the very center of this deck that you could move aside, so to speak, to reach the unseen until now central deck of the ship.
Okay.
You do have the feeling that you are on the command deck, though, which is where Quartermaster Ryback told you to install the Spelljamming throw.
Yep. Great. Well, I suppose someone might want to look down. Did we word there was someone else on this ship, this thing?
They said to assume there could be anything here.
Well,
I guess I will try to move that metal plate and take a look in there.
Yeah, just as this is happening, just if everyone can like put yourselves where you currently are on the map. Can you can each see where you're at the moment?
Oh, yes.
On the command deck? So if you zoom,
I feel like I'm not seeing the map. I'm sorry.
it was zoomed into a certain part of the map, possibly. Do you want me to share it again?
Oh, I see. Yes. Okay, got it. It's all one big.
I run
map.
a.
Yeah. I figured it out.
Axel's gonna move next to Ace and assist him if he needs it.
I think Astral is gonna like try to figure out the control panel here. To be honest, seems like the move.
Cool.
Okay.
But there's no like obvious like window or front to this. There's no like it's not like the ship is facing a certain direction.
No, it's very alien in its design.
They're weird. I guess I should just be off to one side, so I'll sort of hover. Let's see. I guess we should go left. So she'll just kind of keep steering it just in a straight line.
Over the movable part, over the movable floor part.
Yes, over as long as Ace isn't already like jerking it up. But yeah, sort of. I heard the intention is sort of to park it in the top right sort of lobe, unless anyone tells me differently.
Okay, so you would eventually end up somewhere over
Yeah.
here. Okay, so
Yes.
that can happen while Ace begins to try and figure out how to open this floor shaft, right?
Right. Yes. So. Let's see. I'm just gonna look at it and see if there's if I can roll an investigation while looking at it and see if there's anything I can see that would give away how we'd move it, like if it's bolted in, or if there's any
Make an investigation
latch.
check.
Ooh, it's not very good.
Yeah, it
Roll a
doesn't.
2.
It doesn't seem to have any handles or any things that creatures with hands would use to twist or
Okay.
spin it. But you do have the feeling that it needs to spin to open. Is the one thing that you just can't see like an easy way to grab onto the smooth surface at the moment. Doesn't seem to be designed for people with hands to open.
I see. Well, in that case, hold on a second. Let me read this 1 second.
In the meantime, have Histria make a Arcana check for me, Pops.
Alrighty. That is a natural 5.
You have the feeling that you got about as lucky as you could going into just the right chamber and hitting just the right weird button to shut whatever was about to happen down. But as you look at this thing, you're really hoping that installing this other chair is going to absolutely bypass having to deal with any of this, because it's obviously for a completely different kind of mind how this is usually operated by a beholder.
Yeah, I have no clue how this shit works. I'ma just go down. She's gonna go over to the hole with Ace and Axel and Zombies.
Okay.
So,
Is Axel trying anything with this floor? Or you just
I was
watching
just-
things?
Well, I was just like I said, I was just gonna go next to Ace and assist him if he needed it. but he's just kind of sitting
Looking
back
at it.
behind him, just like looking at Ace. He's just sitting there, kind of like looking at Ace, looking at the plate, looking at Ace, looking
I'm
at the
scratching my
plate.
head. Scratching my head like,
In the meantime, is Dr. Carey going to set the throne down, or are you keeping it off the deck?
No, yeah. Once it's in a place, I guess she sort of turns it so it faces, into the. Once it feels like it's in a good, symmetrical place, equidistant from all the adjacent. Down, land it into the location.
So would that be, for example, are you happy with it being, say, here, there, or more like in the middle of the square, like there?
As long, is there like Estria was in one of these different lobes, flipping a bunch of switches and things. Is there sort of a similar panel in this?
This looks equally as baffling in here.
Yeah. So as long as I guess to make room, maybe like right. I can't put it right there. Right there. I'll put it right there.
Okay, so that's where you want to go. Okay.
So sort of leave room for people to get to the switches if they need to, but room to get around the helm if they need that.
As soon as you settle down, you set the throne down, you see like arcane, almost, you could describe them as roots, just ripple out through the floor, and you can feel like a hum come alive as the ship has these energy lines that go up the walls and change all of the colors of these knobs and beeps and bops of this alien technology, and they take on the same color as the arcane lines that the throne has etched into the ground as the throne takes over the control of this Tyrant Ship. You're not certain, but you have a feeling that your throne's going to bypass however the beholders usually steer the ship.
Are you guys noticing any changes?
There's this blinking light over here, but I don't know about that.
All right, can I do anything about that? Let me see. And she sort of touches her fingers, just her fingers up her head, and sort of tries to reach out and what the hell Estria is talking about, and if it's something under my control now.
Are you gonna sit and attune to the throne? The one's just on the ground, so you're attuning.
Yeah, well, no, I was riding it the whole time because I was too lazy. I didn't want to climb up my.
Gotcha.
So I was a floating throne this entire time.
Yes.
Yeah, sorry.
Not only does that connect to the ship, you feel your whole mind begin to merge with the ship as you become the navigator and begin to take control. You feel those pins and needles, the horrible sensation again come throughout your body, and the ability to change your focus to anywhere throughout the ship begins to settle over you once more. The shape is unfamiliar and strange, but you don't need to make sense of these strange arcane control panels because you're in control through the spelljamming throne that's just taken over. Wait.
Okay. Well, this switch is the light that Estria is shouting about. Is it anything important?
If you're referring to the previous switch that Estria turned off, is that one you're talking to about?
I don't know. She was just shouting that there was lights blinking. That's all. I'm just trying to. I'm trying to get a feel of. Oh, you're talking about this switch right here. That's plastic.
I was kind of just making like a modem blinking joke.
Okay.
Yes.
All right.
I assume yes. It's the toilet needs flushing or something like that. What the switch is.
Oh, that's why there's a poop there.
From down below,
these folders, they don't. Number 2, you gotta let. Come on.
From down below, you hear Rybak's congratulatory shout rise up from the shaft. That's it. That's a go. All right. Cargo deck is clear. Ready for takeoff when you're ready, Dr. Carey.
All right. So she reaches out. They're coming in a door. Close the cargo door. She can use her senses to make sure that no one's sort of standing in it. Maybe if Fina's right near the door, she'll start the door a few seconds early.
So what you
Okay,
can see at the moment is down below. It seems that McKevin seems to be has been taken as the quartermaster's hand and is packing all of his foods into usable areas and setting things up in the main cargo area down below, whereas Vina and her two mean girl associates have swept all the way to the left, and the Thrycreen and the Plasmoid seem to have gone on as another pair to sweep the other parts of the deck, and they're kind of like heading back towards where Ryback is setting things up and currently shouting at. So everything seems good to close the doors and take off.
Great. She closes that. Maybe sort of raises the ship, just a few inches off the ground, just to get it used to. What she really wants information. What is the spinning thing? Is the spinning thing going to be like essential for travel? Can she tell it's like a security measure? What was going on right there?
A security measure. You realize that was a security measure designed for people who don't float to essentially be bludgeoned to death by the ship itself.
Very nice.
Okay, we'll just deactivate that one right there. All right, let's take off. And just as she's saying that, the ship is lifting off and sort of slowly drifts out of the dock.
The quartermaster calls out to you. The Stargate will be ready for you. Hekatha, that's our destination.
Hekatha.
And with that information, you head towards this central portal in this middle of Celestia, and a little voice comes into your head saying that you're cleared for takeoff, and you can fly into that portal.
Okay, I guess I should just do you just need to think the word. I've never done this before. Do I just think the word? Okay, she just thinks Hekatha and sort of flies straight towards this opening.
You go through. You all feel the bend as you go through this portal. One moment you're there on the Spelljammer, the next thing you're heading in the right direction, far out into the Astral Sea, buzzing through this wild speeds, the speed of thought, heading in the right direction towards the correct realm space that you need to get to. And you're hearing from down below, from the center of the ship, this kind of scraping, bumping noise kind of comes to life beneath whatever is in below that circular floor covering.
Esther's gonna take out her rifle and point it at the floor covering.
Yeah. Axel does the same thing. He pulls out his great sword after hearing that scraping sound.
Yeah, there's something down there.
And did I hear that?
You do, yes.
I mean, all right. I can just sort of. I think let me take a look. I just extend I try to figure out sort of where the center of the ship is, and just try to extend my vision into the whatever space in the middle might be.
Okay, so down below, in this kind of like a middle part of the deck, you're seeing. It looks essentially like a junk room, full of bits of metal. Might be like a metal arm, a metal leg, very jaggedy, unrecognizable chunks of automatons and inner workings, cogs. It looks like a massive junk room, but the junk is now like moving, like, and the scraping noises is junk scraping on other junk. There's something underneath the junk that seems to be moving.
Yeah, she'll relay. She sort of relay that as full of junk and something is in there. Is it cluttered enough that I can't like move my senses like into the junk and see within?
Yeah, give it a try. Give me a perception check.
Do that once I remember. Your sheet. Perception. That's a 5.
It's a little weird, and the junk itself doesn't seem to be attached to the ship. So as much as you can get to the walls or whatever, it's kind of obscuring your view. But you're unable to spot anything that stands out as non-junk, which seems to be moving it. Maybe because the cover of junk is too thick.
Right. All right, I can't tell what it is, but it's buried under. Do you guys want me to open that door? I think I can. I must be able to open the door.
You can.
Yeah. I got a bad feeling about this.
All right.
Yeah, let's do it. Let's do it.
Get in position. And once they say they're ready, I will just try to use my mind to open the door.
Okay. The covering kind of spins up out of the way, and then at a certain point just slides aside, leaving a view of what is the holodeck. And you're looking down into a drop of some 30 feet to a room that looks full of metallic junk, is the only way to describe it from 30 feet up. Piles of mechanical parts completely covering the floor. You can see again what I mentioned, like some limbs, the kind of limbs familiar with or similar to what was his name, Mr. Blip, kind of like autonom parts they might be, and things are definitely moving down there. Yeah, you can hear the clinking and the scraping of the jagged bits of metal.
And it's lit. It's like a regular room in that sense.
It does have it is getting some type of glow. There's some type of texture to the wall, which is creating a luminous glow. So it's not pitch blackness.
Is that the whole ship is sort of like that kind of?
Yes.
Just the walls kind of sort of black light.
Exactly. Yeah.
Is there a sound? Can I turn on Pink Floyd? Did anyone?
I used to have a mixtape on my ship.
I don't really want to jump down there. If we can make it come up. Well, I can do this once a day.
Actually, before you do that, if it's a once a day thing, how far down is this deck to like the floor of that shaft, essentially?
30 feet.
30 feet. Perfect. Okay. I'm gonna look at the other two, and Axel and Ace, and say, all right, you open that up, and if I tell you to close it, you close it. And she's going to okay, yeah. I'm going to yeah, I'm gonna do it. Fuck it. I'm gonna teleport down in there with my damage resistance, and ideally be like not in the center of the room.
I think you can get an angle, like from, kind of, but you're not going to be in the center, so you could teleport straight down. Does it have to be to somewhere you see, essentially?
Let me check on that, actually. Yes, somewhere I can see.
Okay. So I think with the angle, you can probably, rather than being like right in the middle, you could be on any of the squares around the circle of the holodeck, kind of teleporting like at an angle. You know what I mean?
Okay, I can work with that. Okay. Oh, nope, didn't want to do that.
I'll move you.
Let's see. Yeah, perfect. Thank you. I will go
So choose where you want to be.
right over. Eeny, miny, mo.
Okay. As Estria blinks in and out of existence, what's Ace, Axel's, and Carrie's reaction, if any? Or are you waiting to see what happens?
Watching very closely, ready to help if I need to.
Okay. Before anything happens, Estria's down there already. What does Estria do as soon as she lands amongst all of this junk? Immediately you can see this entire area is going to be difficult to walk around on. You're either going to have to walk very carefully and slowly so that you don't snag, cut, snare yourself on these bits of metal, or you risk hurting yourself if you move at a normal speed down here. You certainly wouldn't want to fall amongst this jagged mess. You would hurt yourself, and it doesn't look comfortable at all.
Okay.
Immediately, it's not immediately obvious what is. You can see basically 3 different parts around the room which are moving more than others, but you can't see exactly what is moving the metal yet.
Okay. These gaps on the sides here in between like those walls, are they like higher ground? Like over here kind of those things?
Those walls are they are kind of like, it seems like alien texture is the only way to describe it, and that's where the light's coming from. So it almost looks like glowing flesh, which seems to be the source of this black light, which is illuminating the interior of the ship. So you can only actually stand unless you're going to cling to the walls amongst the junk. Otherwise, you'll be climbing, hanging off the wall.
Okay. In that case, I'm gonna go to the closest point that would be high ground for me, essentially. Like, not necessarily clinging to the walls, but like kind of like slanted up on the wall, like posted up, like, all right, come at me.
Okay.
Kind of thing.
So, here essentially.
Yeah, that works.
Okay, and so the bonus action to teleport, you've moved.
Yeah.
And are you preparing an action? Are you...
Yes, I am going to ready an attack for whatever one of those things comes out first, or whatever coalesces first, or first bad guy.
The first
Just
thing...
from the map, it's a hollow deck. Is that a Star Trek pun? I'm sorry. Okay. Sorry. I'm only 5 minutes behind.
I just doubt that.
The first change is a sound. It's a clicking sound. It's a sound that only perhaps Dr. Carrie might recognize, depending on whether she has that ability given the body that she's in. Do you speak Thrycreen?
I think I may have, in fact, where would that be? Abilities, languages. Yeah, as long as you accept that I wrote down, I need one more language. Thry seems good, question mark. If you're willing to call that.
Yes, I accept.
Right, then I'll take away the question mark.
That is good enough for me. You can hear mocking clicks. It's mockery. And it's laughing from one to another, rebounding about this, underneath this junk. There is mocking praise in these clicks for the fools who brought a Spelljamming Helm onto the Tyrant Ship so that they can command the vessel once more once all of the fools are dead. And emerging from the junk are these little, almost thrycreen constructs, thrycreen-looking insectoid constructs, clockwork constructs, and along their limbs, instead of like clicky hands or whatever, they have like rotating swords instead. And that,
Oh, that's a thing.
and that, my friends, is where we will leave things.
Ooh.
Excellent. I love me some saw spider crabs.
I think it's gnarly.
All right, so thank you to
Great.
everyone who joined us, and we will be sneaking in one more session next Thursday before Christmas. And if you'd like to come and be with us as we have our last session before the holidays, where we're going to take a break, then we'd love to have you aboard once again. So, guys, thank you very much for your wonderful contributions, and I'll see you next week.
Right.
Thank you.
See ya.
Thank you.
Gonna be super dope.
Can't wait.